Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 715 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Maldo, and I am, of course, joined by Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
And Chris DeBona.
Yeah, hi.
If you like paused the last frame of last episode and then pressed play now, it's like the same Zamboni fire. It's like it's like we never left.
All Zamboni fires all the time, boys.
That's right. All right, gentlemen.
Have like a fireproof Zamboni garage as a result of all these Zamboni fires.
Is this
Really
really
a
probably
Zamboni
just-
recall?
There's probably like some emergency pool that he's just driving into, right? In the back there.
It's got a big Zamboni bucket.
Yeah.
All right. It'd be cooler if they had a car wash or a Zamboni wash machine. Just drive it into it and extinguishes you. This happens so often, and we just have to do this sometimes.
What is happening? Stop talking to me about the news.
Oh no.
I was looking for the word for garage for Italian, so I could say Zamboni la garaggia or whatever. But it just says box auto.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's not cool.
Not as cool.
Yeah, they gotta have a better word than that.
How about fire extinguisher?
Fair enough.
Estintore.
All right.
Estintore.
so-
Estintore the Zamboni. There you go.
That's impressive. Are you channeling your ancestors?
Yes, exactly.
Or
So-
just like
so
some...
I'm Italian, so I can make fun of guinea wop bastards like myself. All right, you guys don't get.
Whoa, dude. You're gonna
Man.
get us flagged.
Yep.
No, it's cool. He's Italian.
I'm
All right.
Italian.
I'm Dutch, so I'm allowed to recite that joke from Austin Powers.
Oh, are you though?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Speaking of Austin Powers, actually, are you familiar? I didn't post
the
this.
Pentaveret.
The Pentaveret. So,
Oh,
the thing you have to understand is that in my house, there is one person in my house who is, by the way, not me, who is a huge Mike Myers fan.
yeah, I mean it's a gene. You know?
Yeah, but there's another person in my house who the other person has infected. And I likes me Mike Myers just fine. I think he's
That's
fun.
not terrible.
He's fun, you know.
Like half of like the first Austin Powers was moderately entertaining.
I like Wayne's
The
World. I
second
like
one
Austin
was
Powers.
a disaster. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like I could take like half of any of these movies and be fine with it. You know,
For a comedy,
Although
that's
not
all I
lately.
ask for. But yeah,
like I married an axe murderer. There are parts that are just genius beyond genius.
that's
and the
like one
rest
of my
is,
wife's favorite
uh,
movies.
You know, yeah. Ed, move.
But
No.
yeah, so yeah, he quotes he mentions the Pentaveret in that, and he now is finally getting the TV show. And I was gonna watch that last night, but my kid now has demanded that he gets to watch it too.
Oh, that's nice.
So, which is
It's
great,
good to bond over shared
but it
experience.
means I have to wait.
Progeny. But you know what you don't have to wait for?
I do have to wait for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No, you have to wait for Star Trek.
Let's
Strange
wait.
New Worlds.
Let's do that at the end, because we might have more to say. So for Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you. Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm really disappointed that they haven't just leaned in and just started calling it Obi-Wandsday. But nobody seems
Obi-Wednesday. Oh, that's
Obi-Wednesday,
good.
Obi-Wandsday. It just seems like it's obvious.
Well, you know,
It's just-
Wednesday was named for Obi-Wan. It
That's-
turns out. you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true.
Yeah, we might have to have the fact checkers make sure that one was right. But
like.
Well, you know, Thursday was named for Thufir Hurvat from Dune.
That checks
True.
out. That checks out. It's at least as plausible as any of the other theories that I've heard.
and
So,
Friday
yeah.
was named after the movie Good Burger.
No, man, come on, that's
Oh.
racist.
Good
You know,
fries.
it was named for Friday, the movie.
Oh yeah, duh.
That's
You
weird.
know?
I got a question though. What did we call Friday before Friday the movie?
Oh, we
The
called
day
it
before
Saturday.
the weekend.
Oh yeah.
We called it the day the Earth stood still because we hadn't
Yeah.
been shown what a great day it was.
Yeah, don't you remember when there was only 6 days a week?
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
I remember
I mean,
when
it
there
made
were
for some
8 days
weird
a
hours.
week.
8 days a week.
8 days a week. Careful, you're
Then
gonna get
we
us copy
lost one
struck
in the
and
count.
racist flagged.
Yeah, so it was 1995 when Friday came out. You know, so
Before
Well,
that,
what's funny is next Friday, we didn't have extra weeks in the month
Yeah.
until next Friday came out.
right. Well, that's when
So
8 days a week.
wait, there was an animated series for Friday? It
Really?
was like
Of
Fat
course there
Albert or
was.
what, you know?
Did you ever watch the animated series for
Uh,
Clerks?
I
uh,
watched at least a couple
Yeah,
episodes.
that's about how
listen,
much I could
listen,
stomach.
I don't have a beat, he seems like he's an alright guy, but, Clerks was fine, but so much dog crap came out of that
Oh,
guy.
for sure.
So
Oh yeah.
much. I mean, we've talked about this before where someone will do something that will actually suck all the good out of what they've done.
Right.
You're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that he was a mass murderer. I can't possibly watch Clerks without thinking about his mass murder spree." It's
Dude,
that kind of
are
thing,
you
you know?
implying that Jason Mewes is a serial killer?
No.
Oh.
No, but he is deadly boring,
No.
like insanely dull. I'm like, I get you want to help your friends, bud, but maybe get him behind the camera.
Ooh, yeah. That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
So the Obi-Wan trailer,
Uh,
are we happy about this?
It was
it's
entertaining.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm
It seems to be doing a lot of the stuff that the Marvel thing did, where it's borrowing from some of the animated series and using that as
yeah.
canon. So
Yeah.
It's got lots of shots of Ewan McGregor looking
Ernest.
from afar at
mhm.
Luke. And you got Uncle Owen saying, "You stay away from us, you crazy old Jedi."
Yeah.
And
See, he wants to do good, but he can't because then they'll find out where he is and murder him.
right, so he just hangs out, a
Yeah.
couple miles
Couple
from them
miles
for
away,
20
yeah.
Yeah.
plus years. And then you
Thinking
have
about doing the
the
right thing, you know.
yeah, it's so weird. And then you have the Empire gal like hunting for him. She's been hunting for 20 years on Tatooine. I hate this planet. It's so sandy and dusty. It's like going to Burning Man all the time. So
It's
they have a lot of good
I hate
elements.
sand. It's all coarse. Gets
Yeah, I
everywhere.
bet you there's like a scene where she says, "Hate sand.
So
I'm gonna kill that kid when I
what
find
we
him."
should do before this comes out, we should make our predictions. Like
Oh,
each
that's
of
a
us
good
bring a
idea.
prediction list, but like not good predictions, like dumb ones. Like I predict at some point somebody is going to talk about the coarseness and their hatred of sand.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Mm. Is there going to be some talk about bantha husbandry at some point
Ooh,
in this movie?
Ooh.
Right.
ideally.
Someone's gonna make like a water condensation joke at some point.
Oh,
Oh, for sure.
right.
Like I was picking up some water condensers and yeah, something about orange juice or some
Yeah.
shit like that. Or
Are we gonna go to Tashi Station at long last and find out that it's just like a hip club where the kids dance? What's the worst possible thing that Tashi Station could turn out to actually be?
um, that's a good question. Tashi Yar
Oh,
Station.
Ooh.
like an oxygen bar, right?
Oh,
Oh,
They
yeah.
just go there and
it
just
turns out it's a spa. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like a Gwyneth
it is.
Paltrow run goop spa.
Does
Right.
anybody
You
want some
know,
death
And
sticks?
and one of the scents you can choose is Jawa,
Oh.
yeah.
right?
Oh, that's a good one. An unhooded Jawa. What do you think?
Oh, that's good. Good. And like who are the guys with the sticks?
The gaffy sticks?
Yeah.
The Tuscans?
No. Tuscans. You'll see for the first time a Tuscan Raider when all the what do they say in the reality shows? When all the gloves come off, what do the Tuscan Raiders do?
Yeah.
When they don't hold themselves back. And here's
When
when people get real.
when
It's,
when the
you
when the
know,
sand wraps come off.
yeah, when the sand wraps come off, the Tuscan Raiders are in the real world. The real world Tatooine. Yeah, it's actually, in fact, Obi-Wan, it's actually the Real Housewives of Tatooine.
There we go.
Oh, that'd be good.
There you go. No,
Uh,
it wouldn't be, but it would be insanely watchable.
all right. Well, we should make a bingo card.
And
Let's
the
make
gal,
let's
the-
make a bingo card with
we
our
should make a bingo
predictions.
I got to tell you,
Are we
if there's
broadcasting? We got to be broadcasting.
if
So,
if at
eh,
some point in this show there's not a bantha with lipstick, I'm going to be very upset.
the bantha races where they get them
Yeah.
and she's gonna say, I'm not here to make friends. Like she goes to the
Oh
confession
yeah,
screen.
yeah.
I'm not here to make friends. Hate the sand. You know. So I've actually never seen a Real Housewives show, but somebody put together a super cut of their intros, and it's all their incredibly dumb, like, I'm not here to make friends, and I live in Friendship, Pennsylvania. It's like they try to make it cute and clever and stuff.
Sure.
So like hers gonna be like, I'm not here to make friends, and I hate the sand, or you
And
know,
and for sure a joke about how it's a dry heat.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh
a
yeah, yeah. There's
super dad
definitely gonna be a
joke.
dry heat joke. Are we writing? We got to be writing this
Yeah,
down.
no,
So
we
I know
got
what's
this.
better.
We're recording this, man.
Okay,
No,
cool.
like somebody can make the
Yeah.
joke
So
that
are
it's a
you gonna
dry
go back
heat.
in time
No,
and write these all down, Rob?
never. Uh,
What?
a
You're not gonna do?
a
Okay,
dry
you got a
heat,
big
but
old
then
card
somebody
creator.
cuts off his arm with a lightsaber for making that joke. um, okay. Rob, your story about the Austin Goodwill find? That's a funny one.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Lady goes to Goodwill, finds this marble statue that she kind of digs, or marble bust, buys it for, I think it was like $40 or something, and it turns out it's a stolen antiquity that
Oh
was
yeah,
last held in in a Nazi museum.
damn
So
Nazis.
He looks pretty grumpy.
Yeah, once you stand there long enough to model for a statue, you get kind of pissed off.
Hard to hold a smile for 60 days while they chisel your face.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That checks out. So, what do they think that thing is worth? Or is it like one of those like priceless sorts of situations?
it's worth whatever someone will pay for it, but
I mean,
it's
economically
it's
speaking.
it's of a Roman general, and it's like, it's ancient. It's like first century old. So
I hope that this becomes like a Mona Lisa type thing where it's a lesser work that becomes elevated because of its interesting backstory.
I'm just upset it didn't turn into one of those, the stories about people who try to quote unquote fix artwork when they find it, and end up
Mm.
ruining it.
I
Like,
give him a nose job. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. Like she took a Dremel to take some of the blemishes out of the cheek. She didn't
Oops.
like the scar or something like that, and ruined
Yeah.
it.
The hair kind of looks like on Community, Pierce Hawthorne's father, how he's got that ivory, carved ivory hairpiece. Kind of looks like that.
Oh, I made the mistake of I've only seen Community through like season 3.
That's a reasonable place to stop.
Or even I got to season 3, and then I found out that Matt Berry was in season 6, so I watched that episode. I'm gonna stick with not watching anything after season 3.
Season 6 is different.
It's just not good, man. It's like
Seasons No, seasons 4, 5, and 6 are each a completely different thing from seasons 1, 2, 3. It'll be interesting because I've been rewatching it with the kid, and it'll be interesting to see what he thinks because I'm not going to say anything, but I'm curious if he'll notice the tonal shifts in the later seasons.
Well, and also I have to tell you something. Donald Glover's a freaking genius, and when did he leave the show? He left the show
Season
clearly,
5.
right? And
Yep.
while I didn't miss Chevy Chase because I think he's a appalling human being, I was just like, this show doesn't work. And there was some random woman there, and I
Yep.
guess Jeff Winger became a teacher, and I'm like,
They all
this
go
is all
back.
just dumb.
They all go back
This
to
is
the
all
community
dumb.
college to be. But you know a lot about it for having not seen any of it.
No, I just
during
watched the
season
one
3.
episode,
All right.
So, and I'm like, who are these people? There wasn't a single good Dean joke, and I'm like,
Ding, ding, ding.
yeah, it's like all the energy had left the room. It
In
was a zombie television show.
in my house, Dean puns and Chang puns are constant. They just happen all the time
And listen,
because it's
I know the
me and
power of
my 12-year-old.
I like making money. I get it, so I get why people will stick around for season 6, season 7, whatever.
I would make a
It's
good
like
joke here.
what? Because I've been at Google for 17 years.
Yeah.
But like, come on, at some point you gotta let it die.
They did. But they're still
Speaking
talking about a movie.
of things that are still happening,
Jurassic World 3 Dominion.
God, it's like, all these monster
Yeah.
movies. It's the same thing. It's like, wait, so you're breeding bigger dinosaurs for some military use
Why do
now,
they always make them
or
bigger?
why do they make that? It doesn't make any sense.
The Jurassic World 2 was so I can forgive a lot in the first Jurassic World. It's not a good movie, but like it's at least following the template.
It was okay.
Jurassic World 2 is a hot mess of stinking garbage.
My brain doesn't even let me know doesn't even let me remember what happened in
Right?
1 or 2, to tell you the truth.
Whatever it is, it's dumber.
Oh, for sure.
Also dumb.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what do? We don't kill our friend, the dinosaur. You know I can
Now,
handle it. I'm not going to get eaten by a T-Rex. Not in this
having
jacket.
having said all that, and being a fan of dinosaurs since I was a very little child,
Right?
uh, like the dinosaurs look cool.
Yeah.
Some of the shots
Well,
look really
that's what
cool.
this is for. It's just like,
Yeah.
hey, we're getting really good at now dinosaurs in the rain, dinosaurs in the snow. Here's a dinosaur in the ocean. Here's a
Dinosaurs
dinosaur on
on
the
the
plains.
moon.
Here's the guy from Special Victims Unit, and
Swoop.
it's I actually met him. He's a really nice person.
I bet he is. He's
Like,
been around.
I don't have a beef with any of these people making a buck, except for Sam Neill. He's kind of weird. But like,
I
sure.
I know Newman is dead in the series, but
Yeah.
it hurt me that everyone else got to be back in the Jurassic World, but
Right,
Newman.
but not him.
They
Why
should
don't-
Where's
they
our
should
Newman?
they should have like his skull on a table. Or
They
something
should
like
clone
that.
him. We can clone dinosaurs. Why can't we clone a Newman?
Yes.
But like 100 Newmans, like in a
Right?
field. You remember the scene in the first Jurassic Park where all the dinosaurs run over the hill? Imagine if that scene was just Newmans. Just hundreds of
They could
Newmans.
do it.
And like Sam Neill stands up and like takes off his glasses and is like, as Newmans stampede across the field. Have you figured out what they eat?
Jeff Goldblum is there, and he says, "Nature finds a way." as they zerg a T-Rex and eat it alive. Yeah. Like Return of the King.
Like Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
The bugs just,
and they all have that look on their face no matter what. And they're always that wet even if it's not raining.
Wiping his glasses, and then
why did you make them all raincoats? We didn't want them naked.
And that's the thing. The guy's like, we didn't make them raincoats.
They found them. They might have made them themselves. We can't even tell how they communicate.
I think they figured out how Amazon works.
Can we just say that he's a gift, this actor.
Oh, for sure.
He's just incredible. He leaned into this thing.
For sure. And that movie, I always got
Look
time
at that
to watch.
facial expression. There's more acting in that one frame than in the entire of Jurassic World 7 Dominion.
Hot take for a movie he hasn't seen.
Dallas.
And then they grow one really big Newman.
Like a kaiju Newman?
Yeah, and then when they do the crossover, he has to fight Godzilla. And he teams up with King Kong.
So he's going to join the Monsterverse?
Yeah, it's a really Monarch running Jurassic Park.
That's where we're going. I mean,
that makes sense.
Pretty soon everything will be crossovers.
It's true. The multiverse opens the door to anything. After all, the multiverse is a concept for which we know frighteningly little about.
Well, so that's what's interesting. So Laura Dern is in this, right?
Yeah.
And Laura Dern was also not famously, because nobody saw it except for me. In what was the name of the movie with Nicolas Cage?
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart, right? So this is really part of the Wild at Heart cinematic universe.
All right. I was
like Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps is going to do all the soundtrack, and
so we have to integrate a lot of Wizard of Oz sort of imagery into it.
Yeah,
right?
I want to watch Laura Dern just do a Haldo maneuver on the kaiju Newman.
That's how she's going to kill the kaiju Newman.
That's the finale.
Yeah, because then you're bringing together Star Wars, Nicolas Cage, Wild at Heart,
multiverse is all there.
And then you see Nicolas Cage go by on the Ghost Rider motorcycle.
Sure, he fights it with bees, of which he has achieved dominion.
But he's also a vampire.
Of course. That would be weird. You know what else would be weird?
What would be weird?
The Weird Al movie.
Man,
this looks
I'm looking forward to this so much. I love music. I don't go to a lot of concerts, but I've been to Weird Al 3 times. Twice with the kids, once by myself.
I've tried to go to Weird Al, but nobody that I've never had the opportunity to go. My wife's not into it.
It's like a ritual. So he'll show a video, he'll do a performance live, show a video while he's changing.
Oh, sure, that's smart.
And then
so
it's great. It's just fantastic.
So when I was much younger, the parody songs I thought were hilarious. I couldn't care less about them now.
Yeah.
But I have to say, his his unique arrangements for stuff, his original
Yeah.
arrangements for things
Genius.
I'm so into Richard Cheese, and he does such a good
Yeah.
job of making polka versions of songs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really talented.
His polka medleys on every album, every one is just like, this is an
Yeah.
enjoyable
Yeah,
listen.
polkas on 45. Honestly, I've learned about more popular music through Weird Al's polka arrangements.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I heard Lady Gaga through Weird Al first.
Wow. Wow. Do you still have your wow buttons? Wow.
I forgot to save it in between
Oh.
reboots. So
That's fair enough.
I can always reprogram them, but
I don't know that that's necessary. I have the thing with Weird Al because in many, many, many cases, I have both the original and the Weird Al song in my big playlist. And you
Yeah.
have that moment in the first 2 seconds where you're not sure if it's going to be the parody or the original.
Is he supposed to be Dr. Demento?
That's
Probably,
got to be
right?
Dr. Demento, right?
Yeah.
And then you got this guy in the background. He's probably playing Bermuda Shorts, and yeah.
That checks
But
out.
yeah, he's got to be Dr. Demento. I mean, who else would he be?
No, I'm all in on the Weird Al, man. Sign me up.
So one of them is Steve J, Jim West. Yeah, but yeah, he's got to be Dr. Demento. Dr. Demento.
Moon Knight. You guys watch the finale?
I did.
You guys can talk about it. I have such a hard time getting into Moon Knight. I'm not ready to put in another 5 hours of my life. But I really liked the first one. But you can talk about it like crazy.
We're
You're not
trying.
spoiling
We're
anything.
trying, but you're telling
You're
us
not
how much
spoiling
you
anything.
Right. We're trying to talk about it, but you're telling us how you didn't see it and how we're allowed to talk about it.
Listen, I'm telling you, you can talk about it.
But what if we don't? What if we want to be interrupted while we talk about the thing you haven't seen?
I won't interrupt you. Moon Knight.
What'd you
ahead.
think? What'd you think, Rob?
I don't want to talk about it now.
It's ruined.
I like the crocodile. I like the crocodile lady's hair.
Totally.
Very nice how they kind of made that her tail.
Totally.
Like there's a lot of good.
Did she have a cool name like Lady Crocodile?
Oh no, she's named after the actual Egyptian goddess.
What was it?
Killer Crocodile.
Hawthorne? I can't remember.
Yeah, Killer Crocodile.
Yeah, Killer Croc.
That's what the Egyptians called her.
Yeah. Which is weird. For like, what isn't she like the god of birth or something?
No, she's the goddess.
Right?
She's the goddess of justice.
Oh, I'm thinking of Hathor. I'm thinking of the hippo.
Yeah, that's not her name either. It's not Hathor. It starts with
Hathor's
T,
a
I'm
different
pretty
god.
sure.
Here, I'll bring up. I'll bring up the damn Wikipedia.
I liked the ending. I thought they did a good job. I thought it was a tight little show.
It was all right, and like
Scarlet Scarab.
Yep.
The end shows you why Moon Knight really never picked up, because there's a third person at least in there.
Yep.
Right. So.
But that was the fun of the show, I thought, is because if you had done any research on it, you knew there was a third person. So then it was just a matter of like trying to figure out where he fit.
Sure, I guess. But I think that as a tool for telling that story is more interesting if there's just two people, right? Because otherwise you get into, it kind of seems like it gets into the realm of, now we're going to travel back in time because we've wrote ourselves into a corner. Or now we're going to be in a multiverse because, why not?
That would be totally true if we were watching season 2. But I think that they really thought this through for this season. Like this 6-episode arc, I thought that it was all really, really well done
contained
for what they were trying to achieve. Like there's like 3 or 4 spots through the show where you're like, yeah, that was Jake. And you might have been like that's the only way that the story kind of makes sense. But my favorite one of those is do you remember in the first episode where he gets set up on the date and he misses the date and he's at the steak restaurant and and Steven is a vegetarian. That was my favorite of the clues. I just thought that was great. Because Mark was married, so Mark wouldn't have set up a date. Anyway, I enjoyed that show. I thought it was tight. I thought that I liked that although they had the big kaiju battle on the pyramid in the
Dive
finale.
battle or whatever. Yeah.
I although they had that, I did not feel that the last episode was the kind of thing where every Marvel story has to end with an hour of just CG fighting. Like they had 5 or 10 minutes of it, but they didn't lose the core story. Like WandaVision, that was my problem with WandaVision. WandaVision lost sense of their core story in order to give us a half hour of let's fly around and shoot lasers at each other.
Yeah, my problem was that, he goes and he single-handedly destroys the entire Egyptian pantheon.
Hmm.
And then they bring back a demigod who, together with the goddess of like childbirth and protection, takes out this guy who wiped out the entire other pantheon. It's just whatever. I understand that you have to do that because
Yeah.
that's the story. It just all right.
I hear you.
But as far as those go, I think it's just as good as any that they've made, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a recency bias, but I liked it a lot. But I've liked most of the shows if I'm able to edit out like 1 or 2 of the weakest episodes of each one. This is the one that I like. Episode 4, I think, really fell apart. But the rest of it I thought was solid.
Yeah, I mean, to be absolutely clear, all of these are way better than any superhero show we had growing up. Right?
Anything on the CW.
Hands
Yeah,
down,
for real.
hands down better. It's just it could be so much better if you're throwing that much money and production into it. But anyway, there you go.
Fair enough.
I feel that way about probably the things we're going to talk about at the end of this.
I think we're there now. Do you guys want to do Picard or do you want to do Strange New Worlds first?
Let's
I
just
would
get Picard out
say-
of the way
All
on a
right.
slightly better note.
Hold on, I'm finding my.
So tell me what you thought about
yeah,
Picard,
yeah,
the
there you
finale,
go.
Rob.
Okay, so here's the thing. I watched the first, I think, 2 episodes,
Yeah.
and then I watched an episode in between, the one where you find out Allison is the Borg queen now, and she's eating batteries to
Yep.
make
Yep,
new
yep.
nanites or whatever.
Yep.
And then I watched this last one. So I don't know what happened to Miss Pill in between.
She had a
when
bad
she was
time.
eating batteries and evidently escaped and went to outer space somehow.
Yeah.
But this seemed like 3 or 4 short little different movies all jammed together.
That is the show, man.
Terrible.
And I kind of hated all of them,
Mhm.
to tell you the truth.
Do you know why? Because you have good taste.
But
It's a terrible show.
But there was one shining moment in this episode
Oh
that
no.
I think is the next spin-off, and we all know what it is, right?
Oh.
The next show has to be The Travelers.
Yep.
Right? Because they get Will Wheaton out. So
They dragged
deal
Will
is-
Wheaton off the
Right.
after show.
so it's about being in the Traveler Corps, trying to
Good
balance
God.
everything in time in the universe. So it's like Quantum Leap, but the stuff they fix all seems completely innocuous. So like they go and one show is all about how they try to make sure someone doesn't burn the French fries at a fast food restaurant one day, or how a doctor has clean socks, or
Right.
like they go
Fixing
and
the color balance on one of the monitors
Right.
on the bridge.
they secretly go in and fill up a gas can in a garage, so when a kid runs out of gas mowing the lawn, he can go and just get more gas and finish
No.
mowing the lawn.
You're not far off, because then they'll say, in small changes are huge.
Exactly.
Yep.
Let's say
So-
some
That's the
butterfly
butterfly effect
crap.
show, yeah.
So it's Quantum Leap, but it's all them fixing stuff that you're like, how in the hell would that ever matter to anyone?
If we
And-
take the hand exerciser
Yeah.
ball and we put it on the left side of the keyboard, he'll be more likely to pick it up and stave off dementia.
Yeah, but I don't even want them to explain why it happens.
Oh no, they're going to explain.
No, that's what the recruit wants.
Yeah,
but
but he
the
never
old
knows.
The old grizzled veteran is like, we don't ask those questions.
It's
here. We
kind of
just
like
make we just make
Umbrella
the universe
Academy.
right?
Like Umbrella Academy, and the kid
love
that's
it.
going back and they don't really know exactly what they're changing. They're kept in the dark of
Yeah,
why they're making their changes.
except unlike Umbrella Academy, it's all stupid.
Right. You're doing
Just to carry the
right.
theme.
You're not
Like,
killing
confidently
Hitler.
written.
You're not killing Hitler.
That Will Wheaton part for me just brought it over the top. I'm like, you are shitting me.
I can't believe
That's
so they
where we
actually
are.
Oh
it was like
yeah.
an ends credit thing, or
No,
what
it was
it?
like it wasn't
Oh.
even the post-credit trailer. It was like at the 25-minute mark. So okay,
And Will
let me
Wheaton came
tell
out?
you a few things about this show that are going to blow your mind. First of all,
Okay.
it
I
is
have no
like
idea already.
it is like the whole season is basically like we had 5 stories that were each like 20 minutes long, and we cut them apart. So each episode, you get 5 minutes of each of their stories. So when all is said and done, each of the stories is only like a half hour long. So this entire episode is just one by one. We're going to have a 5-minute scene where characters who barely have seen or met or know each other are going to resolve their completely unrelated stories that are only related because we had to jam them into this timeline construction that we built.
And then Q's in love with Picard.
Yep.
Q loves him.
They hugged.
No.
They had a manly hug.
John Delancey can go himself.
So
and the funny thing is, if someone didn't watch the show and they would listen to us, they would have no idea what things we're saying are bullshit and which things are absolutely true.
Very
because
true.
the show is so stupid that anything that actually happens in the show, someone might be, I think you're lying.
So here's what I'll say.
You're putting me on, right?
Yeah, this is all fake, right? So what I will say is what you can tell from this episode is that they knew from the beginning exactly where they wanted every character to sort of end up, and they wrote the whole season to get them there. And this whole episode was just one by one, taking the little BB gun at the carnival attraction, and then like the little plastic thing goes across the track, and pew, and you shoot it and it falls down. It's just, all right, we're just gonna do pew, 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 and there's no surprise.
Just setting up season 3.
Yep. And Allison Pill, I think maybe her head was CGI'd onto like
yes,
it looked so bad.
Very, very odd. Very odd.
Yeah. The Will Wheaton thing was amazing because I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about him as a human, but he's not a particularly good actor.
No.
And
he's a terrible actor.
And this scene was rough.
Nice person.
It did make me though hopeful that maybe in the next season, since they brought back pretty much everyone, maybe they start bringing back some more of the monsters. So maybe the crystalline entity becomes part of the crew.
Yeah.
Or do you remember? Do you remember the creature, the baby that was feeding off the reactor? Maybe they have one of those.
Yep.
Yeah,
You remember the little robot cubes that sacrificed themselves? They're just in the crew now.
No.
Yeah.
QB, let's go.
Holy cow, is that show bad?
And sentient tribbles.
That
you killed all of my ancestors, but I am here to serve the Federation.
Like we were talking earlier about the Marvel shows. Maybe they're not as good as we would like them to be sometimes, but they're certainly head and shoulders above what we used to have, right? And Picard is just not that. Picard isn't better than some of the old Star Treks. Picard is like, I think Enterprise is better than Picard.
Yeah, I'd agree.
For sure.
Picard is an
Enterprise
body
gets bad.
Being brought out for Thanksgiving and saying, you know how we set up empty place for our honored fallen ancestors? I decided to dig them up from the grave and just put them there. It's morbid. It's ghoulish. Picard is ghoulish. That's what.
Yeah, that's the other part of it too.
They're
which
carrion
is
feeding on a corpse.
Yeah, I feel like that whole show was like when you enter into the show with your restriction that your title character is old enough that he can't really participate in the action sequences. That writes you into a bit of a corner, and then.
But a corner that Logan survived in just fine.
Well, but Logan could. Well, are you saying the Professor X character? Because he was a support character in that movie more so than.
But still,
But yeah, this is your title character.
How to pull a remarkable performance out of him, even though he is advanced in age.
Yeah, I think This show definitely falls into
Show.
the same thing as all the modern CW shows of the last couple seasons, where it's
It's just
clear that
foolish.
out of production necessity, you've had to split your cast into 4 pods, and you're going to shoot with separate crews or something, or maybe nobody wants to work on Tuesdays, and there's a production
You know what this is?
reality.
You know what this is? This is Bruce Willis with his earpiece because his
Oh,
mind is going.
oh,
This
no,
this
I
is
don't think that.
horrific.
I don't think
This
that.
is I'm sorry. This is just it's disrespectful
I hope
in the
not.
end.
I hope not.
No, I'm not saying that he's going down that road, but I mean, this is like that. They're like, we're gonna get the last performance out of this guy before he dies,
Well,
and it's just
they
like
delayed filming
you
of season
fucking.
2
They're
in
vampires. The people who run
They
Picard.
delayed the
They're
filming of
mo-
season 2 so long that they filmed back to back seasons 2 and 3. So I think they're already done
they're
filming
the
season
salt
Oh,
3.
monster from the original series.
really? There's 3's done already?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
already in
What's
the
gonna
can.
happen?
Yeah.
Well, they had to because he was gonna die, and they had to get that last bit of
Yeah.
life out of him.
Yeah.
They're fun vampires. They're ghouls
Yeah.
feeding on his
And
corpse.
until Picard is like the old man in Breaking Bad, just ringing a little bell.
Ding ding ding. He's just
It's some
piking
sort
it.
of- yeah, just that's when they'll end it, and they'll have to explain
Salamanca.
why his android body has deteriorated like that.
All right, so speaking of Pike,
Well, it's important that we have. Sorry. Yeah. So, and here's why I both absolutely adored Strange New Worlds, and I hate it because I know they're gonna take all this good feeling and they're gonna dash it against the rocks. You know,
So
they they don't deserve the amount of good feeling I had during this episode
the
because I know it's the same people and they're gonna screw us.
one of the things that struck me kind of funny or kind of ironic at first was how they really do a they try to have like his whole staff is female, right?
yeah,
And almost the entire bridge crew is female.
yeah,
Almost every main character besides him and Spock are female. So they
Yep.
try to show that women are empowered and they're in the show. And the first time you see both Kirk and Spock, it's about them banging some lady somewhere, right?
And
both,
Pike. Pike's
yeah,
getting down with Mrs. McMurray in
that's
that
right.
first
right.
scene.
They're they're both sleeping with women. That's how you introduce them. And then his
Yeah.
whole bridge crew is women. And I'm just like, what are you even doing here?
Yeah, that was
I,
that was a very weird tonal choice.
I
You
I
know?
went in this very open-minded about some stuff, and I kind of like the setup of it. It could have
Mhm.
I thought it could have been very sort of old Star Trek-ish, but I felt like all they tried to do is ramp up the emotions of all the characters again
Yeah, I
instead
guess.
of sort of
Yeah, I felt
focusing.
the Noonan Singh Gorn story was just weak,
Oh,
but
I forgot to tell you the worst thing about Picard.
oh god. Did they bring
Rob,
Khan
we
back or
the
we've
something?
moved
Khan
on.
Project?
Oh
We've moved
god.
on.
The
You know,
Khan
we've moved on.
Project?
We've moved on, dude. It's over.
Yeah.
Picard doesn't exist.
Nooney and
We're onto this
Sung
now.
has a folder called the Khan
We're onto this now.
Project.
And I also thought it was very sort of like they have a moment, I can't remember exactly what it is, but they have a red pill, blue pill moment in this where,
Yeah.
because he's tortured by the thoughts of his because he saw his death
Yeah,
that,
it's coming death.
and but he had a choice, and just
And then he
what
quotes
basically
Sarah Connor and moves on.
yeah, what base and like how they solve I don't know. I watched this whole thing and I thought, you know what? Uh the best Star Trek right now isn't made by Star Trek people. It's
Yeah.
made by the guy who did Family Guy.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
Right?
Well, so
The,
I will
the,
tell you the both the great thing about Strange New Worlds and the worst thing is that it's the best Star Trek since Enterprise.
for sure.
Might be the
Think
best
of
since
what
Deep
you're
Space
saying,
Nine.
though.
But
It might be the best since Deep Space Nine.
it reminded me that the Orville is the best Star Trek that we have right now.
Yeah.
It's true.
Now, hopefully, they will.
That said, these are charming actors. If they can keep it from going off the rails and becoming Picard.
I didn't hate it, and I like the
Yeah.
idea of you're getting back to the bread and butter of it, right? Oh yeah, and I like that they had his ringtone, the old calm noise and
Yep.
stuff. There's a lot of There's a lot
There's
of, you know,
yeah,
Easter eggs in there
they
for you.
didn't go overboard with the fan service, but it was
Yeah,
But it was
definitely
definitely
there.
there.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
So
I thought this was probably the best Star Trek I'd seen in a long time, but it's still a
But
sign
you're
of the times,
wary.
right?
You're
Because
wary because you
well,
know what they're
and
gonna do.
because it's not, you know, you don't talk about the ideals of Starfleet necessarily or anything like that. There's just so much drama involved that everyone is healing from some wound in some way.
Mm.
Like
yep.
the head of security won't be won't take a sedative because she can't handle the idea of being slightly out of control, which I think is you are a terrible security
Yeah, you
officer,
should
Yeah,
probably
no,
be a
you
little more
shouldn't.
chill.
Yeah,
You shouldn't put them in charge of important things. You know that,
right. You
right?
know, it's just there's a lot of sort of tonal choices like that in this that I think they're just going to turn this into a soap opera instead of a story about people
Yep.
trying to convince other
They're gonna
people.
abuse our trust. They're gonna
Yes.
exhume the body of James Doohan and sprinkle it over
Oh.
like a console.
All right,
They're
so
gonna
I want to say a couple things. You guys, so the good I liked all the performances. I liked all the actors. I thought that Chapel actually
Chapel was awesome.
Chapel was great. I think that Pike is great. I liked him. Actually, I liked him. I think a little more in his episodes of Discovery. But this one, that now he has to be 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. He has to like have a backstory as opposed to just being the heroic character that shows up and does a thing. So now he's a little more complex and a little more burdened, blah blah blah. I don't need that. I want my captain to be less complex and go to interesting places and good stories. But here's my biggest beef, and Kat pointed this out. All credit to her. In the finale of the episode, where he like gives his heroic speech to the planet, he tells
Yeah.
them all about how he's seen his own death. Now,
Yeah.
this is a thing that
Classified, buddy. Classified.
okay, but they don't know that. They don't know if he's lying or real. They're telling the truth or not, or if this is magical BS. But they only met this new alien race. So this is, imagine the alien race lands. The guy comes out and says, "You guys got to stop fighting because I saw my future already." It's like, we don't know you. Also, we can see the future. Like, there's too much.
Yeah, you're violating the Prime Directive in a lot of new ways now. You know that, right?
Also, you know, like one of the things that has always been true about science fiction is that it's a sort of mirror to society, right? So you have those episodes that deal with societal things. I think the whole plot to this episode is such low hanging fruit
Yeah.
that it's almost on the ground.
Oh, see, I
You
actually
know?
thought I respected that. I respected that a lot because this is a pilot,
Ugh.
and you have to
It was better than
introduce
Farpoint, right?
you have to introduce all of these characters, all of the setting, all of this stuff. You don't actually have time to tell a particularly complicated story. So they told the easiest and simplest one that they could. The real
Yeah,
test is going to be 2
I
episodes from
guess.
now. No, the real test is going to be episode 3. Are they going to start getting bogged down in a season-long story arc that we don't care about? Or now that these characters are set up, are we going to have 6 episodes
I
where they
mean,
go to different places and do sci-fi
so
things?
so here's where I'm at. I don't think you need to dumb stuff down. And that's what everybody does. And that's what this did. So I think if you want to make a great show, just make a great show.
And
That's where I'm at.
I guess I would just counter that by saying I don't think that they necessarily dumbed that down for intent. I think that they dumbed it down for they have 40
Well,
minutes and they needed to introduce you to 6 characters,
well,
and
you
so they
could
only
just
had 10 minutes.
you could just have a plot that isn't that that convoluted, right? You
Yeah.
don't need to have a mystery plot. This was just so freaking obvious and stupid. And like, oh, this guy just shows up and like
Yeah, they
he's
were
like,
trying to
hey,
they pushed a lot of crap into this episode.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
think they spent the first 5 minutes with him on a freaking horse, and
Yeah.
his back and forth with Mrs.
But
McMurray, and I'm like,
this is the
none of this
pilot problem.
mattered.
This is the pilot
N-
problem. You
Yeah,
have to
none of this mattered.
introduce your cast has 9 people on it. You have to give each of those characters a scene for us to know who they are. And by then, like that's a lot of your 40 minutes.
Well, no. Let's be clear. So we're on minute 8.5 of 54.
It's
Okay.
not 54 minutes either.
Before,
You got some stuff on the end.
well, I've got some credits here
A
and I got
lot.
some stuff at the end, right? But so the first, 10th or 9th of the thing is just him running around in Montana. It's like, and being all grizzled and playing Letterkenny with Mrs. McMurray. It's like, what, why
But
did you spend so much time with these idiots?
that's to make
If
us
you
know
wanted
that
to
they have
tell
a dark
a long dumb
backstory.
story. And then you had, of course, Spock canoodling with Lady Spock or whatever. And it's just like, what is going on here? And also, I have to tell you something. The entire time I'm thinking, like, these are not emotionless robot Spocks. This is like sexy Spock.
Oh yeah,
What is going on
he's
here?
dreamy now.
Have they
Yeah.
been to Vulcan?
Yeah.
And
Rational foreplay is really hot too, so I'm glad they included so much of that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I'm surprised they didn't
Uh,
spend like 15 minutes, watching Pike shave, off the mountain man beard.
so
Now,
I thought it was a little rough in getting going, and I wish they would make different sort of choices about what most of the story is about.
Yeah.
Having said all that, I watched it all. I didn't really hate it. There were just
No, I didn't hate it.
there were a lot
There's a
of
lot I
little
thought was great.
there were a lot of little critiques that I thought like honest to God, I wish someone there would just watch some of the Orville and to be like, this is how you tell a sci-fi story,
right.
right?
Yeah.
This is it.
Well, and it's like some of the choices they made, I think were kind of fun. Like, oh, I didn't know Uhura was a cadet. That's kind of cool, And like, she has the same dumb Bluetooth earpiece, But
Yeah.
and in their defense, they didn't spend 16 minutes showing her pairing the Bluetooth with the ship, which
And
would be like the equivalent
and
of hanging out
what
with Miss Letterkenny,
one of my favorite scenes, honestly, in this whole episode was her in the turbo lift with the escaped
That
alien
was
Yeah.
hilarious.
and she's just
Hi.
because she's a linguist and knows all about the culture, she just nailed that guy, right? She's just such a quick thinker and so smart that she just was like, yeah, I'm gonna settle this guy down and we're gonna bond and then we're gonna sedate him
No
as soon
problem.
as we get to the bridge.
No
Right?
problem.
It was a refreshingly
Yeah.
fun scene,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
turbo lift. Yeah.
And I thought the same things for the chapel scenes, and
Oh, she
I
was wonderful.
I did question the decision for your pilot episode to put your leading trio in prosthetics. Like you're introducing us to these characters. Let's not put them in disguises. Let's put their faces big on the screen and get to know them.
Are you afraid you're gonna forget what Captain Pike looks like? I mean, that's part of the story.
No,
The whole story is about first contacts,
I
right?
hear
They're
you.
gonna have to be in disguises.
I hear you.
All right.
That's just
Well,
that was my complaint.
Can I tell you the actual problem with Nurse Chapel and Uhura? They're both too compelling. So when they're in a scene like this doctor guy, he might as well not even be there. It's like all attention just goes woof, right? And it's like, and so you have this scene where you have boring security person, Pike just looking like a hair model.
Is that girl just not the same girl from The Expanse? I can't like.
It's totally no, yeah. You can see the homage.
It's the
to
eyeliner
Expanse,
or
right?
something. I can't.
Well, yeah, she's drummer, right?
She looks like
she's
drummer
giving
to
off,
me.
she's giving off serious drummer vibes, right? But then you're saddling her with the Noonan Singh moniker, and you're like, okay, when's the eugenics gonna come up?
I got no problem with any of that. This is a tight episode. They got the pilot under their belt. We know who the characters are now. Is the
Boring
next episode going to be bogged down in emo drama, or is it going to be a story like they told, like they had 15 minutes of a first contact story in here? Are they going to now dedicate 35 minutes to a sci-fi premise story where this one they only had 15, or is it going to be 20 minutes of let's talk about our feelings?
Yeah, I guess I just want more Mission Impossible and less as the days of our lives, basically.
The sons of our hourglass.
In our house, we were saying we actually said less Dallas.
Yeah, whatever. And by the way, that's exactly how they should have led. They should have just put the Enterprise down in low orbit and be like, "All right, here we are.
Dum-dum, give us our people back."
Sup?
Yeah.
All right, gents.
And
We've done our
also,
thing. Oh, go
if
ahead.
you have a warp bomb, isn't it going to destroy the planet?
I would assume.
All this stuff about warp cores blowing up and holding back black holes.
I liked that setup.
Explosions. It's like, dude, if you ignite a warp bomb on your planet, it's over.
I liked that
It's
setup a lot. That they saw
that was
saw
not a
the thing
terrible
and got
setup.
like I thought that was a great setup. I thought it all was all
This
good.
whole segment where they're flecking into like some school children and and the ship, and I'm just like, oh god,
Yeah,
this is too much. Dial it back to like 6.
and I kind of liked that, I like the idea of all these thousands and thousands and thousands of first contacts
Mhm.
and all these different civilizations. This was the one that made a weapon out of warp drive before they made an engine out of it, right? So I think I think that's a cool idea, a cool
Like that
premise
could have been the
that
episode.
they
That
should have
one,
leaned
yeah.
in, right? Instead of bringing in, this is how it ties back to the last time you saw Pine. And if these people are really that warlike, he's just going to be like, well, it's going to cause a big war, so you should stop. And they're like, yeah, we're so warlike. We're the first civilization out of 100,000 to build a weapon out of this instead of an engine. But since you said it would cause a war, we'll stop.
It's a pilot
and that's the
episode.
thing.
You
You
got
think
to
they
set
would have
up a
said,
win.
I was expecting him to say, of all the civilizations that came up with warp technology, those that created the warp bomb, they're not around anymore. Like it's a fork in the road for
I
your
think that was
society.
I think that
Are
was
you going
the
to obliterate yourself, or are you going to
I think
move
that's what he
forward?
said. He didn't use those
But
words, but
he didn't say it though. He didn't
I don't
say,
think he
and
needed to, Chris.
he said it like the warp bomb was this unique thing for them.
I just
And then they spent 15 freaking minutes, it seems, at the end explaining the biodomes that turn into a spaceport.
yeah,
I'm
that
like,
was a bit
what are
much.
you doing? That's a whole other episode. The botany episode.
Sure.
For
I
gosh
I
sake.
I I will admit that I did kind of like how they get out of trouble at the end, basically on a technicality.
Yep.
They're like, "Oh yeah, you guys did shit that would get you absolutely thrown out, but we did some some shady shit too, and we don't want anyone to know about it, so you're still here. Congratulations."
Everyone gets promoted. Have a good day.
Yeah, because that's the way that really works. I think. So
I don't think that the people who made the show understand space bureaucracy, but
yeah.
I think that they understood how to make a pilot. And I think
Yeah,
that's
I think that's a weak excuse.
No,
I gotta be honest with you.
honestly,
say
they put too much into the pilot. They could have had even more good feeling, and a good launching point if they like adding the botany stuff at the end, the botany domes. I'm like,
here's what
leave it be.
I want this show to be more
want it to be
tightly
good.
serialized than season-long story arc. So I need you to load as much of this character stuff into this episode as possible, because on
Yeah.
episode 2, I don't want to be dwelling on it. You can have 2 scenes that deal with it, but the rest of it, give me the frickin' core thing. But it's not going to be that.
But they set up too much.
Yeah.
They're letting you know that they're invested in doing it this way.
Yeah, you've got security lady storyline. You've got.
And that's fine if the way that they do it is to take one of the characters and explore one of their backstories.
Yeah, but that's season 4 stuff.
Dovetailed into it. That's how they did it in the Next Generation, right? You'd get one character, you'd learn one thing about them tied to a real sci-fi premise.
And I will say, like it's set up like sort of like how you find out things about your friends. Like they didn't dump all that backstory right in when you meet those characters. You see those characters for a while, and then you learn interesting things about them, and that makes it more compelling.
I mean, imagine if Jeff Bates unloads about all the house fires in that first minute you meet him.
Yeah,
right. That's too many.
He'd have nothing left to tell you. He'd have nothing left to tell you.
Too many house fires.
It would all be like, oh wow, that's a good story, Jeff, but it's not a house fire story.
That's
like
true.
You'd be like, oh, what's Jeff going to tell us now about the boring, trip to the office or something?
Well, I'll be tuning in next week, but you know what I won't have to tune into next week? Picard. I'm going to get a break.
Those ghouls. They're
all right.
fun mummies.
Goodbye, Chris DeBona.
They're the salt monsters from the original series, sucking the life out of poor Jean-Luc Picard.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
See ya.
I was Rob Commander Taco Malda. That was episode 715 of Geeks in Space. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.